Tigers lose again. They're making a bad habit of this. It's Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get great podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you sincerely for that. Thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. LSU drops game 2 to Sacramento State 5-4. And after the exhalation, the sort of euphoria of the offensive outburst in game 1, where LSU scored 15 runs on 14 hits in just 4 innings. They come back less than 24 hours later in a game that was moved up due to the threat of inclement weather. This was supposed to be a Saturday night game at 6 p.m. Got moved up to 2 o'clock. Actually, first pitch ended up being around 2:12. And the Tigers didn't push across a run against Sacramento State until the bottom of the 8th inning, and the rally falls short as Tigers lose 5-4. I'm talking about the game. Talk about Cooper Moore's day, what happened with the offense, some observations, some more changes Jay made in the lineup. But a big picture thing here, this, I would be, now that you've lost 4 out of your last 6, is that right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 4 of your last 8. Is that right? What it's up to? I mean, whatever. You are in a spot where you've lost. Let's see, you've lost 3 of 4. That's right. You swept the first 2. So yeah, 4 of 8. You've lost 4 of 8 in 3 of your last 4. You're in a spot where I would be more inclined to start reaching for the panic button if this team didn't have ability. What I mean is, it's in there, right? We just saw it last night, or in game 1. We just talked about it. 15 runs, 14 hits, 6 homers. It's in there with this team. We saw Case and Evans dominate. We've seen Cooper Moore be really good. We've seen William Schmidt dominate. We've seen arms out of the bullpen be great. We've seen this team hit 1 through 9. Like, we've seen it. It would be more concerning if you're relying on guys who hadn't been there, done that, and they were struggling early in the season, and so you're hoping that they would come on. But this is a team that we've seen it. Like, we've seen this team do it. The problem I think they have right now is there is a leadership void on this team. You'll hear from anybody that's ever played, and as many guys I've talked to that played through this program over the years, that it's hard for pitchers to be the vocal leaders because they only pitch, especially weekend guys, pitch once a week. And I think you don't necessarily have that very obvious vocal leader on the team right now. The guy that's going to throw stuff and kind of snap everybody out of it. Stephen Milam's been a great player for LSU, but he's more of a quiet to himself guy. Jake Brown is more of like the class clown, right? He's the joker on the team. Hard to go from that to being the locked in, I'm going to yell at you now. You got a lot of new guys who haven't really done it at this level. If you're talking about York or Dardar, some of the veteran players in college baseball, but haven't really done it at this level. So right now, I think that's what they're missing. Look, I mean, you saw it in the 8th and the 9th. They rallied and darn near won the game. We're going to go through the game here in a second. And they even stung some balls really hard that were loud outs. I mean, Jake Brown in the bottom of the first hit a hard line out, also roped one right at the first baseman that was caught. Curiel there in the 9th, the line out was 108 miles an hour off the bat. Guy made a play. It's baseball. So they took some good ABs and they hit the ball hard. But overall, you can't go into a 7-inning lull and then decide when you're about to lose, you're going to turn it on. So I'm not going to freak out about this, but candidly, this is not a good Sacramento State team. They came in here 3-9. They pitch it well. That's been their MO. They pitch it well, but they average 211 as cumulative as a team coming in on the season. So if you told me LSU might scuff a little offensively, I maybe could believe it, but you had opportunities, but in this game, just like you capitalized on in game one, you just weren't able to make the most of it. I guess we can start with the offense. It's probably, I think, where everybody wants to start. I do want to talk about Cooper Moore and the day he had, because uncharacteristically, he lost his command, which has made him so good early in the season. But we'll get to that here in a second. I really thought there were a couple of moments offensively for LSU that were really big missed opportunities. The first was in the bottom of the fifth. And you had runners on base in every inning except the first and the sixth. Now, you only had 3 hits in the ball game, okay? So you really struggled to muster offense, but you swing in the bat. Now, you hit a lot of balls hard, but you managed it. But you scored 4 runs on 3 hits. So you managed to get guys on base in every inning except the first and the sixth, but you couldn't make the most of those opportunities when they opened the door. If you look at the fifth, for example, or even go through it, your bottom of the second is when you had a 2-out single by Aaron Beatty, then a hit by pitch. So 2 on, 2 out, and you don't come up with the hit. It's a fly out. Bottom of the third, you get a leadoff walk. Curiel strikes out when the lineup flips over. Jake Brown hit a missile. It was a fly out, but he hit a missile. And then a fielder's choice, they're out of the inning. You couldn't take advantage of a leadoff walk. Leadoff walks, we know the stats, score 50% of the time. Couldn't get the leadoff walk there home. You had a 1-out walk in the fourth. You followed it up with back-to-back strikeouts. The fifth, though, was the big inning. Ruckert led off with the little tapper, and they threw the ball away. So it was so he reached on an error. Then you went Caraway flew out. So 1 on, 1 out. Lineup turns over for Curiel, and he walks. So you've got 2 on, tying run in scoring position, 1 out, Brown, Milam coming up. Brown strikes out, Milam grounds out. You're out of the inning. I mean, that was probably the biggest missed opportunity to turn the game right there. And, 2 guys in the middle of your lineup who have been 2 of your better guys all year weren't able to make the most of that opportunity. In the seventh, Yaman was hit by a pitch. Wild pitch sent him to second. So runner on second, less than 2 outs. Ground out. They're out of the inning. And then we know that they finally came through in the eighth. But that was in large part due to them giving you base runners. Walk, double, Dardar pinch hit, strikeout. Wild pitch scored a run. It's 5-2. You go strikeout, E5. That was the ball that the third baseman threw it over the first baseman's head to keep the inning going. Run scored there, 5-3. And then Reeves with a runner in scoring position flies out. Then we saw what happened in the ninth. Harden with the leadoff homer to make it 5-4. And you made a run at it. I mean, Curiel hit a ball 108 off the bat. Brown, Milam walk, and then York strikes out, swinging over 3 changeups, which was just disgusting to see. And then Dardar flies out to end the game. The York strikeout at the end was particularly disappointing because one of the things that, if you're an everydayer, and shout out and thank you, one of the things that before this season started that I've been told by a lot of people I trust that were really impressed was York's. The swing was his plate discipline. The swing and miss was so low for York. But right now, he came into this game with Aaron Beatty with 14 strikeouts, Curiel and York with 11 apiece. And then York in this game struck out 2 more times. So York's at 13 strikeouts on the season. He's right behind Aaron Beatty for the team lead. I would not have predicted that. And that's a big spot right there with less than 2 outs. Or the tying run in scoring position, you got to put the ball in play. To swing over 3 changeups is just, that's an inexcusable thing right there. You got to be able to put the ball in play. So really, really disappointing day offensively. And I thought, like, as we mentioned, the fifth was really your big opportunity with 2 on, Brown, Milam coming up, and you went strikeout, ground out, and you weren't able to capitalize. But again, you had runners on base in 7 of the 9 innings, and you managed 4 runs, and you didn't score till the 8th. So missed opportunities was the name of this game. I do want to talk about the pitching because There was something. Look, the grand slam that Newt gave up was such a bummer. I mean, you win the game if he makes a pitch right there. But as disappointing as that was, I think there was something that I did like considering the circumstance, and I'll explain what that is. Let me get my elements in. We'll come back and I'll explain. We'll talk a little pitching when we come back, and then we'll look ahead to Game 3. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits. You can mix spreads, totals, player props, match how you see the slate playing out. Then apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. So head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Also brought to you by TurboTax because it's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is, well, a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with stacks of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in, meeting a real person, and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. So head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and to book your appointment. And finally, we welcome you to 5 Hour Energy's Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. I've got my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. Real talk, I do take 5 Hour Energy darn near every day before my radio show. But how about Hawaiian Breeze? Feel the breeze. Taste the caffeine. Made with passion fruit, orange, and guava flavors, it's sweet yet smooth, tangy yet tart. Maybe it's sour apple, peach, mango, tropical burst. Find your favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy today. 5 Hour Energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. 5 Hour Energy, got a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned. So find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Tigers lose 5-4, and certainly a lot of the focus is going to be on the disappointment on the offensive side, not being able to carry forward the momentum from Game 1. But Cooper Moore took the ball in Game 2, and this was an uncharacteristic outing for Moore. He goes just 4 2/3. He allows just 1 run on 4 hits. Struck out 4, walked 3, he hit 2, and he needed 89 pitches. 89 pitches for Cooper Moore to get just through 4 1/3 innings of this ball game. 4 2/3 innings of this ball game. But I'm going to tell you why I think I'm encouraged by that. Because this was one of those outings where it was very clear that Cooper Moore did not have his best stuff. And you could see it look, from jump. Struck out the leadoff hitter, then gave up a single. Beautiful catch by Curiel on the fly out for the second out, and then a caught stealing. Awesome play by Cerna to peg the runner at second in a steal situation. But after that, in the second, third, fourth, fifth, he didn't have a clean inning. And when we look at Moore's season so far, like that first game of the year against Milwaukee, he didn't face a 3-ball count in that game. He went 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, struck out 11, didn't walk anybody, hit 1 batter, but again, didn't face a 3-ball count. Against Notre Dame, he goes 5 2/3. He gives up 3 runs on 8 hits, but struck out 6, only walked 1. Again, remember, the command his ability to throw strikes has been really the weapon for Cooper Moore. Last week against Northeastern, 7 2/3, 1 run, 3 hits, struck out 10, walked just 1, didn't hit anybody. I mean, on the season for Cooper Moore, he struck out 27 and walked 2 coming into this game. Let me say that again. Coming into this game in 3 starts, 27 strikeouts, 2 walks over 3 starts. In this ball game, Cooper Moore ends up walking 3, hitting 2, and he uncorked a wild pitch. So very uncharacteristic of Cooper Moore, but when he had to make the pitch, he did to get out of it. In the first inning, I mentioned he gave up the 1-out single, got out of it with a caught stealing. So he faced the minimum in that inning, but he got out of it. In the second, I thought this was massive. Gives up the leadoff single, then goes ground out, fly out, double. That's when you're down 1-0, right? That's when they scored their first run. After the double, he gives up a walk and a hit by pitch. So he loads the bases. And with the bases loaded and a chance there for Sacramento State to bust it open, put up a crooked number, boom, he gets a strikeout. Massive moment right there. And Jay talks about it all the time. We talk about it. You're going to give up runs in baseball. The key is not giving up the crooked number. So in the second, you avoided that right there in a situation where you loaded the bases with a walk and a hit by pitch, but then came back and got the strikeout. I thought that was really significant for Cooper Moore. In the third, a 2-out hit by pitch, then uncorks a wild pitch. So now he's got a runner in scoring position. Boom, he gets a fly out. Time and again, he came up, I thought, with those pitches. A 1-out walk in the fourth, back-to-back strikeouts. They lifted him in the fifth after he walked what would have been his final batter, and they brought in Plog to go lefty-lefty. And I thought that was a huge moment from Plog because he comes in with 2 on in that situation, and he gets the hitter lefty-lefty to ground into a fielder's choice. We talked about this last week on Monday with Santiago Garcia in a similar situation. I believe it was in the fifth, actually, with runners on base, with bases loaded and 2 outs. They brought in Garcia to face a lefty. And actually, it wasn't 2 outs. There was a runner on second, and they brought in Garcia to face a lefty, and Garcia comes in and gets the strikeout. So, and then they lifted him because he was in to face just that one hitter. So Jay and Nate Yeske trying to figure out who can handle what roles. Well, here's Plog in a situation with 2 men on in a 1-0 game, 2 outs, and he comes in to face a lefty and gets the fielder's choice ground ball. You love to see that. Plog was good in the 6th as well. Got a 1-2-3-6. LSU only got him up and down. Well, they faced the minimum in the first because of the caught stealing, and then the double play as well. But in the 7th, they faced the minimum. But I thought Plog was really good to get out of it there in the 6th, in the 5th, get him up and down in order in the 6th. And then in the 7th, he issued a leadoff walk, but then got the double play and a fly out. So I thought, and then started the 8th with a strikeout. Then they went to Sheeran. So I thought Plog was really good. His final numbers on the day, 2 2/3, no runs, did not allow a hit, struck out 2, walked 1. I thought Plog was really good. That's a big time takeaway for the young guy, the young lefty who's trying to carve out a role. Sheeran has been awesome this year. He had not allowed a hit, let alone a run this season. So I was a little disappointed. I mean, you went to Sheeran in a 1-0 ball game thinking, okay, strike out from Plog to start the inning, go get Sheeran to get you these next 2 outs. And he just didn't have it. Walk, fly out, single, walk. And so he loads the bases for Newt, who then gives up the bases loaded grand slam. What a contrast to Plog, right? So Plog came in with 2 on, 2 outs in that situation. You go to Newt in a bases loaded 2-out situation where you need a veteran guy to go make a pitch, and he ends up giving up the grand slam, which put it out of reach. So again, as disappointing as it is to lose the game, and I'm not excusing losing the game because this is a team you should beat. You're better than them. They were 3-9 coming into the season. More than anything, what I'm looking for in these types of situations, of course you want to win, but it's more to say, what are we learning? Well, Cooper Moore, even when he didn't have his best stuff, still found a way to go out and get you through 4 2/3 and allow just 1 run to keep you in the ball game. Plog enters in a really sticky situation and gets you out of it. Was really good through 2 2/3. Sheeran, who's been awesome for you this year, just didn't have it. Newt, super disappointing. I mean, you gave him the ball in a tough spot with the bases loaded and he gives up a grand slam. So that was a problem. Flip side, thought Cooper Williams was awesome. A 1-2-3 ninth. What a great response from Cooper Williams after a really disappointing outing the last time we saw him against on that Monday against Northeastern, where Cooper Williams was just he couldn't find the strike zone. That stat line, give me 1 second here. I'm pulling up Cooper Williams against Northeastern, his last time out. Cooper Williams in that game went 1 inning. He gave up 4 runs on 3 hits, walked a guy, struck out 1. So he didn't have it Monday against Northeastern. He was awesome in this ball game with a 1-2-3 ninth. So some of the things that were my takeaways, kind of like emptying the notebook from everything else. And if you're with us live on YouTube, thank you so much. Please smash the like button. Talked about limiting the damage in the second. Jake Brown smoked a couple of balls. Oh, the one other thing we didn't talk about yet was the replacements. So Ruckert got his second consecutive start at second base. And I think, look, Jay Johnson is a guy we know that leans offense. He'll sacrifice defense for offense. The problem with Dardar at second is his liability defensively, and the average had dipped below 300. Is down around. Well, I'll tell you exactly where his average is right now for Dardar. Dardar is at give me all. Where is it? He's at 256. So that's the problem, right? You're not going to put a guy in the lineup if he's a defensive liability if he's hitting 250. If he's hitting 350, I'll take my chances because it's probably he'll overcome it with what he's going to give me at the plate. So Ruckert continues to get on base. He reached on an error in consecutive games. He nearly missed. He missed a home run by 3 feet in that game last night. 0 for 2 in this ball game, but he's keeping the strikeout numbers down. So he's putting the ball in play. And when you put the ball in play, good things will happen. It'll be interesting to see if they go back to Ruckert again on Sunday in Game 3. Cerna behind the plate, dude's got a hose. Caught stealing there in the first, caught stealing in the fourth. So that's a great alternative to Aaron Beatty. The unfortunate thing for Cerna is offensively in this ball game, he struck out 3 times. He was 0 for 3. I'm sorry, he was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, and he was hit by a pitch. So, you're going to take some of those growing pains offensively with young guys who are hitting at this level for the first time. But defensively, that was really encouraging. If Aaron Beatty needs a day off, you can put Cerna behind the plate, and you're not going to miss a beat defensively because he looks really, really good there. And then Braun in left field again. Jay likes Braun. He was the opening day DH. He's a freshman. Nobody hit in this game. Braun was 0 for 1. He did walk in his 2 plate appearances, 0 for 1, then a walk. Then he was lifted for Simpson, who promptly, that was in the 6th, and Simpson promptly struck out in his pinch hit appearance. But I think Braun has acquitted himself very nicely in left. And if Jay wants to stick with that bat with Braun and keep him in left, so far so good defensively for Braun in left. We will see if Stanfield comes back. Remember, Jay said last weekend this was the target weekend for Stanfield's return, and we just haven't seen that. It's one thing I don't think we should underscore or understate is the importance of Chris Stanfield. This guy's played in 200 career games, 500 career at-bats. You're going to get that guy back in the lineup probably as your table setter at the top whenever he's back. And I think a lot of things will fall back into place when Chris Stanfield does come back. But how about Daniel Harden with the pinch hit home run in the 9th? So you'll kind of see it, right? The Harden, you're similar to Cerna. You're going to, with the young guys getting their first taste of major college baseball, you're going to live with the good and the bad. And Harden had 3 strikeouts on Wednesday night against UL Lafayette. And in the 9th, he hits a pinch hit homer that goes 400 feet, to the last row of the bleachers. So you're going to live with the good and the bad, but Harden is a super explosive athlete, and you're going to see those opportunities for him this year as the season goes along. So it's my notes. Game 2, Tigers lose 5-4. The rally falls short. Tomorrow, Sunday, Game 3, we'll see William Schmidt out there. I think it'll also be interesting because you have basically everybody at your disposal from a pitching standpoint, whoever you want to get work. I would imagine Gavin Guidry will pitch. We haven't seen Maverick Rizzi yet this weekend. Would love to see him get back on the horse and see if he can throw some strikes. Santiago Garcia, situational lefty. Do we get to see that again on Sunday? Maybe. But more than anything, what we want to see is this offense get going. We talked about Sac State coming into this weekend. a staff ERA of 4 that's really been their cornerstone, their hallmark is their pitchability. LSU crushed them on Friday. They handcuffed LSU on Saturday. What do we see in the rubber match on Sunday? See if the Tigers can go get it done behind William Schmidt, which is really what we want. Is another commanding outing for Schmidt before going into conference play next week at Vanderbilt. Okay, y'all, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks so much for being here with us. If you're with us live on YouTube, thank you so much. Please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. If you're listening or watching on demand, thank you so much. Podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review, and let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you every single day and after every single baseball game here on Locked on LSU. It's your team every day.